If you want to build a wider, stronger back, better posture, better confidence, then you really only need 2 exercises. What's up guys, it's Godrosi from Gymnastics Method, and in this video I'm going to tell you more about these exercises. So if you want to have bigger, wider back, better posture, better confidence, then keep watching. Alright guys, so let's start with the most important thing, the prerequisites. Before doing any rows, pull-ups, but if you want to have a bigger, wider back, the key to achieve that is the scapula control and movements. So if you can move around your scapulas, you know the scapula movements which I talked about in my previous videos, that's going to be the key to activate all the back muscles and achieve the best possible results. If you're interested in all the movements and preparations, I have a dedicated video on scapula preparation on the channel, but right now I'm going to tell you the most important ones for the rows and pull-ups. It's going to be 3 exercises. The first one is for the rows, and that's the scapula adduction. So scapula adduction is when you just retract the shoulders and imagine that you're trying to pinch a piece of paper between your 2 shoulder blades or scapulas. So basically you have to depress and retract the shoulders and imagine that you pinch that paper with those scapulas. You can do this several ways, but I think the easiest for most people for shoulder mobility is doing on a bar or ring and just basically do a hanging position, same as the inverted rows, locked elbows, depressed shoulders, and here, super difficult exercise. You just have to retract the shoulders, adduct the scapulas, and that's it. I know it seems ridiculous, but believe me, if you do 10 to 15 reps and 30 seconds hold, you will feel the muscles, like you will have crazy muscle soreness the next day because, as I said, most people never do any of these. So that's the easiest part, when you do it on a higher bar and just do the scapula adductions like this. No big deal, but the same way as you do with the rows later, you can do it on a lower bar. So if you come here, your body is horizontal and do the same movement, you will feel that it's actually getting a lot harder. Same here, you can perform 10 to 15 reps and then 15 to 30 seconds hold. Same with the rings. It's easy because the rings are moving more freely and you can start in a higher position and basically do the same movement, and you can go lower and lower. You can even do this with elevated legs. So that's gonna be almost an inverted row, but only with the scapula. You don't do any pulling motion with the arms. The second prerequisite is the scapula depressions. So here you have to go from a passive hang to active hang. So you just have to depress the scapulas. It's super simple, but most people mess it up with pulling with the arms and just trying to arch. But really imagine that you have like 2 glass walls in front of you and behind you. You just passively hang. Again, you can assist with your legs in the beginning if you want. And here you just have to depress the shoulders and scapulas and go back to passive hang. And go up, hold it for 2 seconds and come down. And same here, you can do it with leg assistance, then you can do it with your full body weight. Do 10 to 15 reps and 15 to 30 seconds hold. The biggest challenge here is to not pull with the arms, just hang and only isolate this part. Here you really want to build this neuromuscular connection and isolate the back muscles, because you will have to put together the previous 2 in the next exercise and in the inverted rows and the pull-ups as well, you will see, and combine that with the arm pulling. So I'll talk about that later, but now let's see the third prerequisite. And in this one, I call this the scapula pull. You have to start with a depression that I just performed, and then you have to adduct the scapulas. So here you will combine the scapula depression and adduction. That's a more advanced exercise. Same here, just straight arms and only work purely from the scapulas and back muscles. So I recommend to everyone to start with leg assistance because it's much more difficult. So just do a passive hang and first just try the movement. You have to depress and then adduct, so just push out your chest as much as you can and retract the shoulders as much as you can and go back. In the beginning, maybe it's gonna be just a small movement, depression, adduction. And again, depression, adduction. And as you get stronger and as you get used to this exercise, you can do more range of motion. And once you feel confident with the leg assistance, you can do it in full body weight, a full passive hang. So here just do the same movement. This is almost like a pull-up, so it's actually pretty difficult. You don't want to do 10 to 15 reps. I think if you just do like 5 to 10, it's good. And if you can hold on the top a little bit, that's gonna help with the pull-ups for sure. But it's actually a really good exercise for the front lever as well. So these were the prerequisites. I highly recommend everyone to go through these: the adduction, depression, and the scapula pull, where you combine both. And then after you have these perfect, you can move on to the inverted rows. All right, so the first pulling exercise you have to master is not the pull-up, it's the inverted rows. That's gonna build you the foundation to do perfect chest to bar pull-ups in the full range of motion and really have all the benefits from the pull-up, have the muscular back, and have the pulling strength in order to do muscle-ups, high pull-ups, and all the stuff that you just, you're just dreaming about, and you don't understand why it's not happening because you're missing these basics. The inverted row is a great exercise that bodybuilders usually say that the rows build the thickness of the back, and when most people do the pull-ups, they really just use the lats. And since they don't have this motion that we have to perform in the inverted rows, they don't really build, the upper back and have that geographical map kind of back. But the inverted rows will help you to build that. So in this exercise, the scapula motion is the most important. You have to depress and adduct the scapulas. You can do it as a pre-activation and then pull with the arms, or you can do it continuously as you pull. Obviously you have to start with the scapula motion and then just pull the arms as well. For beginners, I usually say that they should do it separately in the beginning. Just do the activation, depression, adduction, and then do the pulling. And as you feel this motion, you can just do it like quickly and do it as a continuous motion. If you do it with the rings. With the rings, it's going to be actually easier, or with a suspension trainer, because many people, when they activate the scapulas, the rotation of the arm changes, so you have the freedom here. But if you do it on a bar, it's going to be a bit more difficult, but still you can focus on the scapula depression, adduction, and then pull. The range of motion in both cases is really important. If you do it on the bar, you have to touch the bar with your chest, and if you do it with the rings, I always say that you can't really touch anything else than your fingers here. So as you pull next to your chest, always try to touch the chest, the side chest, with your fingers. Okay? And that's only gonna happen if you drive the elbows the right way. So after you have the scapular motion that I just described, the second most important thing is to drive the elbows next to and behind your body. Imagine that you have a wall, like you're in a super narrow space, and you want to pull the elbows next to your body and then behind the body as much as you can. If you do it without the scapular activation, that's gonna look like this. So it's pretty lame. You have to activate the scapulas, and then you see it's like full chest out and retracted shoulders. All the muscles on your back have the peak contraction, so that's gonna build that geographical map kind of back. The third most important is to keep your core tight and keep your body in a straight line. So if you start with a 45-degree angle, you don't want the hips to sag. You want to maintain a tight, straight body position. So basically you have to squeeze your abs and glutes. And if you put these all together, you will do really nice, strict, full range of motion inverted rows. So once you start in a higher angle, if you can do 15 reps, you can go lower, you can come to horizontal with bent knees, do the same, then do it with straight legs. That's gonna be harder. And if you have chairs, or if you have any bench in the gym or whatever you work out, if you can do it with elevated legs, that's the expert level. So if you can do 10 to 15 reps with elevated legs with perfect form, then I guarantee you'll be able to do like 5, 6 chest to bar pull-ups immediately, because there you have such tension and such load to your back muscles and your arms that you will have the strong foundation to do the pull-ups. How to implement this into a workout? This is more like a beginner exercise. So after the joint preparation, after you mastered all these scapula movements that I mentioned, I always suggest to do only inverted rows and push-ups as upper body push-pull exercises. So this is actually the antagonist of the push-ups, so you can combine it with that and just do a core exercise, a leg exercise, and you have a full body workout. That's really all you need as a beginner or someone who can't perform nice pull-ups or don't have enough muscle mass yet, and you just worked out in the gym trying to do different workouts, always doing something different, but you don't see the results. I guarantee if you just do push-ups, rows, V-sit up and squats the proper way, you will have an amazing physique. Alright, so let's see the pull-ups. Now that you have the scapula motion, the inverted rows, and you've done everything correctly, you're here to do perfect chest to bar pull-ups. So I always say that the foundations are the most important. If you've done everything right, as I said, elevated leg, inverted rows, you should be able to do easily a few chest to bar pull-ups. But let's say it's not the case, so I'll help you to build up everything gradually. But first, let's see the right technique. It's not going to be much different than the inverted rows, but obviously now you will use your whole body weight. It's not going to be a supported position like the rows, and you have to start slightly differently. So here, the whole movement starts with a scapular depression. Also, you can do it with pre-activation. So you will have to do a scapular depression as a pre-activation and then pull, or you can do it continuously. But the point is to drive your chest upwards to the bar and have the right technique. So whichever way you go, the most important thing is the depression and then the adduction at the top. So here you kind of have to separate these two, and as you go upwards, obviously if you want to do it separately, actually it's going to look like the scapula pull and an arm pull, but nobody does that. So I think I can show you. And then pull. You see, it looks pretty lame. So first you have to do the depression, and as you start the pulling motion, as you get to the top, you have to adduct the scapulas, because if you don't do that, it's gonna be just a chin over the bar pull-up. Some people do the pull-ups like this. No scapula depression, no scapula control, and it's just basically an arm pull-up. Some people do it with depression but no adduction, so it's gonna be more like a chin over the bar pull-up. And if you do both, you do the depression and adduction, that's gonna be the perfect chest to bar pull-up. It's actually pretty difficult, so it's not like most people imagine that you just grab the bar, pull up yourself, and that's it. If you want to do a gymnast-like perfect form pull-up, you have the depression and the adduction as well. So how to build this up? As I said, if you have the prerequisites, you're all good, and you can start with a leg assisted version, which is super easy. You can assist with your legs as much as you want. So this is actually a perfect bar for it. You do the depression, adduct, so try to push out your chest. And I have a separate video about the cues. You can imagine that you have a rope attached to your chest and someone is pulling you up. You can imagine that you drive the elbows behind your body or pull the bar down as a cable machine. You can check out that video. But the point is to drive your chest to the bar and do the depression and adduction motions. And similarly to the inverted rows, here as well, when you pull with your elbows, you have to do it in a narrow stance and drive the elbows behind the body. But actually, I have an exercise that I will show you now. You can connect pretty much the inverted rows to the pull-ups if you do this. So you do a row, and then you just let your hips to come down, and you'll be on the top of the pull-up, go back and come down. So this is a good transition between the rows and the pull-ups. because you will feel that it's the same exact position, but the only difference is that your hip is not high, but it's lower and you're vertical. So that's the first step. Do leg assistance, and after that you can do a resistance band pull-up. This is actually one of the favorites of my students because you can mimic the same movement, but the band will help you a lot. So it's good to build the neuromuscular connections, get those reps in, get used to it, do it perfect form, full range of motion, and you can easily knock out like 15 reps depending on the band. You can use a thinner and thinner band so you'll get closer to the full execution. Using different kind of bands is a whole variety of progression, so feel free to use it. And besides that, another really effective and less liked progression is the upper endpoint holds and negatives. I will show you on that bar. So this is something that many people don't like, but if you start, for example, with an underhand grip, it's going to be much easier to just grab the bar and hold the upper end point as long as you can for the first rep, and then do slow and controlled negatives at least 5 seconds, and then go up and do the rest with just a second hold on the top and come down. Now I do it a bit faster than normal, but yeah, you want to go as slow as possible. And this is going to be super exhausting to your nervous system, so if you just do a few reps, like 5 reps, that's fine. And if you have the opportunity to do neutral grip, like on a monkey bar, you can do that and slowly transition to the overhand grip. So that's going to be the goal, to do it overhand grip, hold it as long as you can, and then come down slowly with the negatives. So with these 3 progressions, if you have all the prerequisites I mentioned, and you do the leg assisted pull-ups, the pull-ups with elastic band, and the upper endpoint holds with negatives, you should be good to go and perform some nice chest to bar pull-ups. So how to implement the pull-ups into your workouts? I know many of you guys want to do pull-ups immediately from point zero, but be patient, and as I said, just first focus on the prerequisites, then do the inverted rows until you get to the elevated leg progression, 10 to 15 reps, and only then do the pull-ups. And same as with the rows, a really good exercise to pair with is the push-ups, and here you can use the dips. So what I suggest to do as a full body workout is doing dips, pull-ups, leg raises, and do some weighted leg variations, or do single leg like pistol squats or Bulgarian squats, and you have a full body workout. And if you do it 2-3 times a week, you will see really nice results. But if you need personalized help and you want to get to the nice chest to bar pull-ups, the more muscular back, better posture, and better confidence, apply to one-on-one coaching and get on a fast track. We will get you there as fast as possible with weekly check-ins and personalized programs. But otherwise, if you want to work at your own pace using the same well-structured system, click the link below, join the Gymnastics Method community with the app, and get access to all my programs, tutorials, daily workouts, and much more. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and now check out my videos about scapula preparation, the full tutorial on inverted rows, pull-ups, how to do more pull-ups, how to do high pull-ups or muscle-ups on the end screen.